القوى الناعمة لها تأثير ساحر، فهي قادرة على تشكيل عالم جديد وتعريف بثقافة البلد وتاريخه وحضارته، كما تسهم بشكل كبير في صناعة المستقبل وجسور التواصل بين الدول. دائما يكون من خلال الثقافة والمعرفة، ولذلك كان لنا لقاء للتعرف على الأدب التشيكي من خلال لقاء مع سعادة السفير السيد إيفان يوكل سفير دولة التشيك بالقاهرة. لقاءنا هيكون مع سعادة سفير دولة التشيك بالقاهرة السيد إيفان يوكل، وهو طبعا هيتحدث عن القوى الناعمة وعن الثقافة وأيضا عن الأدب التشيكي. Welcome to our program, Excellency. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Welcome at the Czech Embassy again, Dr. Tahit.
I think it's a good opportunity to participate during this year at the book fair. And you have a Czech writer who was participating at the book fair. And he is one of the popular Gypsies writers.
Yes, first of all, I have to say that it was a very smart decision to take part at the book fair in Cairo for the Czech Republic, since Egypt is very specific for us. This is the only country where we have a group of friends of the Czech language who are able to speak Czech, to translate Czech books.
Yes.
So it's logical that we present our literature with hope to be even more spread around not only Egypt but all Arabic-speaking countries.
Kafka is one of the most popular Czech writers, and he is well known all over the world. I think most of his books are translated in many different languages.
Of course, the interesting thing about Kafka is that in many countries he's considered as a German.
Yes.
Because he wrote in German language,
yes.
But of course he was living in Prague. He was Czech. Like as we were talking before, we are presenting the Roma writer Patrik Banga, whose ancestor came from Slovakia, like my ancestors. So I think speaking about Franz Kafka and Patrik Banga, it's also talking about Czech identity and Czech and Czechoslovak history.
أشار السفير إلى أن الأدب التشيكي يمتاز بالدعابة رغم ظروف العالم القاسية. يرجع تاريخ الأدب التشيكي إلى القرن ال11. قبل القرن ال15 يتألف في معظمه من بعض الوقائع التاريخية المدونة باللغة اللاتينية، إلى جانب عدد من الأناشيد المكتوبة باللغة التشيكية، وكذلك بعض القصص العاطفية، كما يدخل في بعض القصص أعمال البطولة والفروسية المنسوبة إلى الشخصيات من أمثال الإسكندر الأكبر. كما اشتهرت قصة الدب التشيكي، ولقد أصبحت اللغة التشيكية أداة أدبية فعالة بفضل الإصلاحات اللغوية التي أدخلها جون هاس، وهو الأمر الذي تكفل به في ميادين التربية الرائد الكبير جان أوموس كومنسكي.
في إحدى الغابات أعلن عن وظيفة شاغرة لوظيفة أرنب. لم يتقدم أحد غير دب عاطل عن العمل، وتمت الموافقة عليه وصدر أمر بتعيينه. وبعد مدة معينة لاحظ الدب أن في الغابة أرنب معين، لكنه بدرجة وظيفة دب، ويحصل على راتب ومخصصات على أنه دب رغم أنه أرنب. أما هو فكل ما يحصل عليه فهي مخصصات لأرنب رغم أنه هو الدب الحقيقي. تقدم الدب بشكوى إلى مدير الإدارة، وحولت الشكوى إلى الإدارة العامة، وتشكلت لجنة من النمور للنظر في الشكوى، وتم استدعاء الدب والأرنب للنظر في القضية. طلبت اللجنة من الأرنب أن يقدم أوراقه ووثائقه الثبوتية، ولكن كل الوثائق تؤكد على أن الأرنب هو الدب. ثم طلبت اللجنة من الدب أن يقدم أوراقه ووثائقه الثبوتية، فكانت كل الوثائق تؤكد على أن الدب هو الأرنب. فجاء قرار اللجنة بعدم إحداث أي تغيير، لأنه يتضح من الدلائل أن الأرنب هو الدب، وأيضاً كذلك الدب هو الأرنب بكل المقاييس والدلائل والوثائق. لم يستأنف الدب قرار اللجنة ولم يعترض عليه، وعندما سألوه عن سبب موافقته على القرار أجاب قائلاً: كيف أعترض على قرار لجنة النمور التي تشكلت من مجموعة حمير، وكل أوراقهم تقول بأنهم نمور.
Let's move to how can you spread this literature and Czech literature in Egypt. You have already an apartment in Ain Shams University, and the department is already for the Czech language.
Yes, I'm very glad that in Alsun there is really a community of people who are able to do even very complicated translations. Mm-hmm. Practically every year there is one new translation of the Czech book. Mm-hmm. Lastly we presented, and also at the book fair, the piano lessons from Ludwig Vaculík translated by Khalid Beltagi, one of the professors.
Okay. You have also a book, it's called 10 Stories of Prague, right?
Yes.
Yes. It's short stories about Prague, and it's talking about Prague as a city, and I think it's a good opportunity to know more about the city, and Egyptian people get more knowledge about it.
exactly. Prague, as every big city, has its own magic, and people just use some stereotypes in perception. So about architecture, about maybe the beer, but the stories from Prague are taken from different authors.
Yes.
So, like, what's the role of literature to shed light from different angle of view? That's the role of the book as well, and the mission.
أما في القرن التاسع عشر فقد أصبح الشعر التشيكي على جانب كبير من الأهمية على يد كولار. كما تحدث السفير عن فرانز كافكا. فرانز كافكا كتب بالألمانية، وتشير له بعض المصادر باسم فرانز كافكا. هو كاتب تشيكي رائد الكتابة الكابوسية، يعد أحد أفضل الأدباء الألمان في فن الرواية والقصة القصيرة. If we talk about soft power and how can we connect and make bridges between Czech and Egypt about literature and about soft power, how can we explain it and how can we translate it?
Well, it's not easy to answer because even inside the countries we have some gaps and we need bridges between different communities. But one of the good things of what literature can bring is to show that we are not so different as we seem to each other on the first sight. We are more than 3,000 kilometers distant, but some of the problems, for instance, with integration of people, how it's perceived by institutions who think everything is perfect, then from the other side, I think it's really what you call soft diplomacy. It's bringing more trust. And I have to tell you that in Egypt I was so surprised how many young people are keen on reading about Czech Republic.
We want to highlight on literature and about modern literature about Czech writer. What would you like to say?
I'd like to say that the perception of the Czech literature is finally changing. You know, when I was a small boy, for me the safe bet is to read the book which you see on the table about a cat and dog from the Čapek brothers. And actually it was Josef Čapek who wrote the book and made illustration. Next to it you see the book of his brother Karel, which has been translated also to Arabic, and which for every friend of Czech literature is something which is safe. That you know that will be great reading, very colorful language. But of course, the time which they are describing, it's over. So modern time comes with new discoveries. We as the Czechs are actually rediscovering our identity, which also means that we introduce also new types of writers like Patrik Banga is. He's the actually first Roma writer who has been allowed, so to say, but in my understanding, the time finally came when the book of such an author was printed out, because he describes the time between my youth and my daughter's youth. So you were talking about Prague. He talks about Prague from another perspective, and he highlights what does it mean to be Czech from the perspective of Roma people, which is actually not very easy reading, although he uses humor, which is something where he continues in tradition of the Čapek brothers.
Yes, and he's being awarded twice.
Yes, but I think that really if you want to want to discover Czech modern literature, you just look to the awardees of Magnesia Litera Prize, which is the most prestigious one. Patrik Banga was awarded last year. So his colleagues, which are actually Czech female writers, are excellent ones. They are ethnographs, former translators who are describing different regions from my country and describing how difficult it is to be Czech-speaking Czech, Roma-speaking Czech, Polish or German-speaking Czech from different time periods. And believe me, still 30 years after revolution, this is something we really need to discover and to inform the world around us.
As a Czech ambassador to Egypt, which message would you like to tell every Egyptian here in Egypt?
I would recommend them to read the book of Patrik Banga. I would recommend them to read the books of modern Czech authors. And of course, I would recommend them to come to the Czech embassy since we organize many events to make our culture closer to Egyptian publics.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome, Dr. Taglit.
Thank you. ونستكمل حلقتنا القادمة مع الكاتب التشيكي باتريك بانغا الذي كان في زيارة إلى مصر، وهو يشتهر بكتابة الأدب التشيكي المعاصر. القوى الناعمة والثقافة هي الجسر الممتد بين مصر والعالم.